Hi, my name is Jované and my partner is Juan Figueroa, and in this video we are going to talk about novel fermented meat products. Fermented meat are traditional processed meat products and their origin comes from ancient human civilization. Their diversity depends on the environmental and geographical conditions to which they are subject. These conditions define their final composition. The fermentation process involves following main steps. Number one is a biological acidification process. This occurs with the production of lactic acid and the reduction of water activity through the addition of salt and drying process. These two steps impart the unique characteristics to these meats. These two factors, plus the fermentation process, produce low molecular weight compounds such as peptides, free amino acids, aminos. In the 19th century, the use of yeast mold and bacteria, therefore, a controlled and efficient fermentation was carried out. The addition of the current salt and limit oxygen in the select environment for the microorganism species, such as lactic acid and coagulative negative staphylococcus. Today, lactic acid bacteria are added in form of a starter culture to improve the standardization of the fermentation process. The lactic acid bacteria reduce the pH to a final range in 4.5 to 5.5 and induce the denaturation of the salt-soluble proteins to cuttable gel. With the rate of pH decrease, the addition of current salt and the decrease in the water activity to shelf life has been lengthened by a considerable amount. Now I'm going to talk about the basic composition. Fermented meat are highly diversity segments of processed meat that typically consist of more than the following key ingredients. First of all is meat. The raw meat used in the production of fermented meat must be of high quality. It must be free of bacterial contamination because the processing has ideal temperatures for the proliferation of pathogenic bacteria. It should be free of chemical contamination, and care should be taken when using meats with the higher unsaturated fats content that can lead to rancid problems due to oxidation. For example, poultry mix. Some of the common meat species that the industry used to produce fermented meat are beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, buffalo, horse, donkey, and others. The initial pH of the raw meat commonly range of 5.5 to 5.9 for most of the meat. Therefore, meat with quality defects such as mild, pale, exudative, and dark, firm, and dry should be avoided in the order to produce a optimum product of optimum qualities. 2 is the inoculum. Historically, fermented meat products depend on wild inoculation, which is generally composed of strain of lactobacilli and staphylococcus. They were replaced by starter cultures, which were developed to reduce the pH at shorter time scales. 3 are the starter cultures. Their preparation of viable microorganisms that develop the desired metabolic activity in the meat. The commercial starter cultures are available in form of lyophilized powders, and they can decrease the fermentation time compared to natural fermentation by 50 or 20%. At 50 to 20%. Starter culture can be broadly classified into two main categories: bacterial and fungal. The fungal, which includes yeast. Three ingredient is fat. Fat is an essential component of the fermented sauces that contributes significantly to the characteristic sensory and technological qualities. They give ease of chewing, improve chewiness, flavor, and aroma. Pork fat is the most commonly used in the production of fermented sauces. Typically, 20 to 30% fat is added to fermented sausage. However, the sensory acceptance of the fermented sausage is intrinsically related to the level of the fat present in this meat. The other ingredient is salt. Salt is an important additive in the fermented meat, although the level in the final products vary widely from approximately to more than 6 in some percentage in some traditional dry sausage. It has three main beneficial effects for meat. 1. Conservative action. Salts inhibit putrefaction, dangerous microorganisms, and promote the growth of lactic bacteria. These are achieved by decreasing the activity of water. 2. Solubilization and extract the proteins. The extraction of myofibrillar proteins is essential to improve moisture retention and the formation of necessary bond and texture in the final products. And 3. The taste. Fermented meat are mostly associated with an acid and salty character. The last ingredient is the nitrate. The nitrate salts can be used in the production of fermented meat. They are particularly useful in long-life products as they are powerful preservative against many organisms of spoilage and food poisoning. However, its use can inhibit many starter cultures organisms if not handled correctly. On the other hand, excessive consumption may be moderately toxic in humans, and therefore the amounts allowing foods has been restricted. Nitrate is considered very important in the manufacture of fermented sausage and is responsible for the following beneficial effects. Number 1, preservative and antibotulism effects. Nitrate serves as a bacteriostatic control of vital importance of the development of Clostridium botulinum that can grow in anaerobic conditions such as those created in canning and vacuum packaging. Without the addition of nitrate, the spores can produce vegetative cells that are responsible for the production of Clostridium botulinum toxin. Number 2, taste. When the meat is cured using nitrate, the resulting is 1, a desirable flavor.
Now I'm going to talk about other additives. I'm going to talk about 3. Spices are the first one. It is a growth promoter to starter culture. It inhibits pathogenic microorganisms like Listeria monocytogenes and Staphylococcus aureus. Polyphosphates are the second one, and this improves water holding capacity due to increasing pH and avoiding taking the pH to the isoelectric point of the protein, making them retain water. Retain natural juices helps maintain the product moist, because after applying temperature, this has a little bit of water capacity retention. Sodium ascorbate is the third one, and is used to promote color due to binding with metals. Novel ingredients have a similar effect as a starter culture. It has positive effects like reduction of spoilage, contamination, extending shelf life, improved color and texture. A big disadvantage of these novel ingredients is that it gives a sour taste to the final product. And this is a thing that the customer does not like at all. We're going to mention two novel ingredients: gluconodelta-lactone, GDL, and lactic acid. GDL is used in semi and undried sausages obtained from Aspergillus niger. And lactic acid is like a powder that is added and inhibits Listeria monocytogenes and has effects on texture, microstructure, and moisture retention. Basic processing of these products needs a stage of ripening. Stage of ripening is the critical point to give the characteristics to the product. In this stage, there are two parts: fermentation, that is where bacterial growth takes place, and it has time, temperature, and humidity. It depends on the origin of the sausage. And the drying stage, where the flavor development takes place. The difference is only in time. The temperature and the relative humidity is the same. So, novel processing has a lot of technology. Novel processing technology to avoid bacteria or pathogenic microorganisms are three. High pressure treatment that goes from 100 to 1000 megapascals, and it destroys bacteria. It has the advantages of not using chemicals and does not affect the product characteristics. Food irradiation reduces, but it is proven that it reduces pathogenic E. coli. This is E. coli O157H7, and is a decontamination technique. And pulse light, that is short lengths of flashes rich in UV, and is simple and effective. Basic fermentation in biochemistry. There are three basic reactions that takes place during the fermentation. Carbohydrate breakdown, that generates the energy for the starter culture and is a source of lactic acid that helps reduce the levels of pH and get it to its isoelectric point. Proteolysis, that is the pH low levels activate the cathepsin, and biogenic amines affect health due to a toxic effect they have. Lipolysis are done by enzymes called lipases that make free fatty acid susceptible to oxidation. Future novel fermented products are starter culture safe to acidity. Benefits for health, for example, probiotics through the meat, and nutraceutical components that have medical benefits for us. As a conclusion, fermented meat or fermented products are a high opportunity for the future. This is a tendency, a trend that has been upcoming in the last years and could be a great opportunity in the forward future.